Hey guys, what's up? Well, we may have had a few technical difficulties, maybe. I think it's safe to say that. I think we're going to have to give a firm standstill on uh the Atlas streams. They don't seem to be working. Let me quickly swap this over. So we're going to go to a solely better pirate game. Well, in my opinion, a game that has been brought out of the depths like a phoenix. A game that many were saying was struggling for months after release through lack of content. But lo and behold, it has risen out of the water. Not the ashes. And we're going to play some Sea of Thieves. Because apparently, according to all the people I game with, it is worth checking out again. And the content is flowing. Yeah, apparently it's great now. I was a big fan of Sea of Thieves when... it was like probably one of the games I was hyped the most for when it was announced. It was so amazing. I remember when they did the reveal trailer, I was looking forward to it so much. And then I played pretty extensively in all the beta events. But maybe that was its downfall because, at least for me, when it launched, I felt as though the game didn't have anything to offer to me because I played so extensively in the beta, and the last beta events were pretty much exactly how the game launched. There wasn't really a difference, at least in the content. So they've been working on it now for a long time, and apparently it's in a state now where it's kicking it. Oh, Darsch is in the voice channel. I didn't even realize Darsch. I thought I was talking to myself. Oh, I think this is a bug. One sec. Let me just quickly reset this. I think sometimes enlisting the pirate breaks it down. Yeah, and Sea of Thieves is having another large content drop that they just announced the other day called the Arena, I think it's called, which is a PvP centric game mode. I really hope it's not a battle royale. But yeah, let's go. God, what ship do we play? Let's do some solo adventures in the sloop. Yeah, they're having a new content update called the Arena, which is a brand new game mode. A lot of people have had their eyes back on this game, especially on Twitch. Holy hell. Summit 1G, I just wrote this into the Discord the other day, that Summit 1G has now overtaken Ninja on Twitch subscribers, which is a huge feat. But not only that, but Summit doubled his own subscriber count from last month by pretty much just solely playing Sea of Thieves now. He's like one of the largest creators again on Twitch, and he's an old school one. He used to, if anyone doesn't know, old CSGO pro. He's been streaming on Twitch now for 6 years, and he's fairly popular. I mean, he's a big titan of Twitch, but he's kind of just stayed in his own corner for a while. And he was a firm advocate of being against like the Fortnite takeover on Twitch. He was very outspoken about the idea that he did not like Fortnite and what it was doing to Twitch. So yeah, he's just been streaming some Sea of Thieves, and he's been killing it, averaging like 30k views, topping Ninja on his sub count, doubling his sub count from last month. That's so impressive. But shout out to the guy. I mean, I think he's really helped bring Sea of Thieves back into the spotlight, and that's good because as much as they could do for content updates and everything, he's the one that got them the publicity to show that the game had changed. All right, so we're in. I think everything looks good. I think Darsch is coming on at some point to talk about Atlas, because I mean, if we can't at least play it, then maybe we can talk about it.
Been anywhere interesting? Farewell, fortunate one.
Just some of the fundamental changes as well. Just to go through some of the changes in Sea of Thieves so far. This is a really minor one, but it's really insane how much of a difference this makes to the game. But these outposts, which anyone who plays Sea of Thieves knows that these outposts are scattered around the map. They're like the safe sanctuaries for any pirate. You pick up all your items, your voyages, you sell your loot here. It's all good stuff in these areas, and they changed the shop and the merchants now, so that each outpost has kind of like a traditional theme in their loot. Is this the clothes shop? No. So the different outposts you go to will offer you different wares now based on kind of like the loose theme that outpost is going for. So I don't know what one we're in at the moment. But if we go to the shop here, we will have Executive Admiral gear. So yeah, this is the more sovereign set with the Admiral stuff. And then this stuff will not be available in the other outposts, which is something that old Sea of Thieves, you go to any outpost and they sold everything, which seems more convenient, but actually in reality it makes the world seem a lot more populated, and the world just seems actually like it seems more coherent to think that each outpost has a different set of civilians living in it and selling a different set of things. So it's cool. I like that change.
I like the art.
Yo. Yeah, the art is amazing. The comical art style, I mean, well, I say comical, it's like
It
stylized.
reminds me of Dauntless, but better.
Yeah, Dauntless is like stylized, but it's like still kind of adult-esque, I guess. It's a little more rugged than Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is like kid-friendly.
So yeah, this is hilarious. I first lost the fight with Atlas, and then I lost the fight with Discord and forgot that I had muted my mic. So I've been trying to talk this whole time with the mute.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Atlas. I think it takes too much to run it right now in alongside OBS. I think I could probably play the game, but alongside OBS it takes too much. As you said before, Arc and stuff were like huge RAM and CPU hogs. For me, I think it's my CPU. I probably need to upgrade it.
Yeah, like I can stream Arc while I'm playing it, but I can't alt-tab ever while I'm playing Arc, or everything locks up on me. And it's kind of the same way with Atlas. I can play Atlas just fine, but if I try to tab out, it's going to crash every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe if I manage to load into a server and then maybe try to turn on the stream instead of having to do like all the heavy lifting, but yeah, I think just waiting a bit until it's a little more optimized, then maybe I can go back to it. Yeah, how much have you played so far of Atlas? You've been playing it quite a decent amount, right?
I've played quite a bit of it. I've been playing on that Twitch RP server when I can connect. They've had their own issues lately with it, but yeah, I've gotten up to level 32 with it so far.
Nice. How hard's the grind? Is that like
on officials, it's pretty substantial.
Yeah.
On unofficials with XP turned up, depending on how high they have it turned out, you can hit max pretty quick. And Atlas kind of has this weird thing with how they do max level, you have a soft cap of level 50, and as you discover new islands and discovery points, it increases the total amount of XP you can earn, thus increasing your level cap.
Oh, okay, yeah. So is it just because obviously with Atlas I haven't played enough to experience that, but I'm gonna reference it as far as I know with Ark. So with Ark you could learn like the higher level engrams, right? With the higher level you were. Is there anything that's like similarly tied in Atlas to level, in terms of like what you can learn to craft?
You know how you could get like journeyman and epic and ascendant gear and Ark? Well, they kind of have something similar in Atlas, where you have journeyman, apprentice, mastercraft, and legendary gear. Well, you have to spend your skill points. In Ark, they were like Ingram points to learn how to build Ingrams. Well, in Atlas, you have to actually learn skills. So you'd go into survival tree, learn tools of the trade to be able to make a spear.
Yeah.
And then that would unlock the ability to take a thing that unlocks bows for you, unlock the bow skill line. You actually increase your damage with bows and learn how to make stuff for bows. And you can learn how to wield better quality bows doing that. So they kind of went away from just having Ingram points to learn how to build something to actually having a full-fledged MMO style skill system.
Do you think that works better for the game?
I do. It makes it feel completely different to me. Because instead of just putting in stat points and learning how to build something, I'm having to actually think about what skill lines I want and need for my playstyle. Because you can't learn everything.
Yeah. Yeah, my main worry with the kind of like Atlas leaning more towards like the MMO style of gameplay was that I feared for the balance of it, because I remember distinctly like I've got just over 100 hours in Ark or so, and I in every server I've been in, like the one constant that's always there, especially in publics, is that the problem with balance in terms of like alpha tribes, so like alpha tribes, like a term anyone who plays it will know, is like there tends to always be like this one tribe of people, this one group that that have managed to min-max or like just power creep their way up to just owning pretty much any control of the server. And I worried that for Atlas, it would kind of go towards the same level of gameplay where people would have just this huge, immense level of power. But I guess with if they're limited to only being able to spec into like certain things with each character, it's actually like it's far more beneficial to have like a more well-rounded group than a super high level one.
Right, and we do still kind of see that issue with alpha tribes showing up in Atlas. We have a couple of alpha companies in Atlas, which are your tribes or your guilds, and it's pretty much turned into America versus China right now on the official North American PvP server.
Yeah.
China has pretty much taken over half the map.
Well, they don't have their own server, do
these
they?
Chinese players are your typical. Yeah, they don't have their own server, and this was an issue with Atlas when Ark when Scorched Earth came out. A bunch of Chinese players showed up and just started blocking off stuff just to troll people. They're not here for actual gameplay. They're here just to troll and cause problems.
Yeah.
And the same group of problem makers have gotten together in Atlas and are doing the same thing again. And now we have the full-on war between the two.
I mean, that's cool. In a narrative sense, it adds some. It's just original. I mean, it reminds me of like the stories that come out of Eve of literally countries fighting countries. But is it annoying in the gameplay? I mean, like, are they actually just trolling again?
They are just trolling, but it's turned into a full-fledged war now. So we're actually getting some great emergent gameplay out of it. As long as the racism is kept to a minimum, everything's groovy. There's been some very blatant racism on both sides.
Yeah. Well, I hope that gets worked out. I was reading up about the servers because I was thinking about the private server performance that you said was better, and it probably makes sense because if you look at the amount of shards that the main servers have got running in in parallel, all the private servers have like well the ones that I tried to join had like maybe 4 or 5 of those shards like running together. So I guess the because what I was reading was that if you wanted to host a private server, you had to pay, like your cost of renting it would increase by the amount of shards that you were running on the server, and the cost of running like a fully fledged maximum size server like on the officials gets like quite costly. So I guess the servers on
Oh
the
yeah.
privates are going to be considerably smaller because they've got smaller map sizes.
Yep, most of your private servers are going to be like 1 or 2 to 4 nodes. Twitch RP has a huge private server going on for Atlas, and I think they have 10 nodes, and it's still a fraction of what the actual officials have.
Yeah, I'm wondering how they're paying for that.
It's my understanding they're actually sponsored since it's a huge RP group. They're sponsored by survival servers.
Yeah.
They're doing on the server hosting forum, and they actually promote survival servers. So I think they have a partnership with that.
Okay. And I'm guessing that's where like all the RP Twitch streamers are going.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. When Atlas server was getting set up for them, they had 15,000 applications they had to sort
Holy
to
Jesus.
be able to join the server. So when I got approved that night, I got very lucky. Everyone else after me has pretty much been having to wait a week to get all their stuff approved.
Yeah. Hey, that's one thing I'll give it. Like, as much as the bad press and everything that Atlas got, like, it hasn't seemed to harm them a huge amount in like their viewership, because on Twitch they were still killing it for like their first 2 weeks of launch, 3 weeks. They were doing really well. Like, there was a lot of people streaming it.
It really is a great game if you can deal with the fact that this is an early access alpha build of the game, basically. Where most of the bad press come in was people not understanding, hey, this was put out as soon as possible to get it tested and to get some money coming in to help us finish building this.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. Like, I was speaking to somebody the other day that raised a good point that nowadays, when it comes to things like early access or what companies call betas, most people are expecting a product that they will feel satisfied with playing at that point, which is never something that you're going to get with something that's labeled alpha or beta. And I think it's probably the industry's fault of their aversion to not wanting to release betas anymore. Not betas, demos anymore. Like, very few games actually come out with demos anymore, and people want to playtest what they might spend their money on, and they want to know that what they are spending their money on is worth it. Back in the day, you could get like hundreds of demos released like daily. You could easily know exactly what you're going to be buying. But now, like, demos are so rare. We only ever get betas or early access tests. We never get just like a model of what the game might be like when you buy it. And I think everybody wants that, but when they purchase an early access title, they're expecting to be content with the product they're buying at that point, which isn't going to happen.
That's a really good point right there. So I remember back in the day, PlayStation Magazine, back when PS1 was first released, and then the other CD-based consoles were coming out. Game magazines used to put out game demos with them.
Yep.
Which was a CD full of like 4, 5, 10 demos of upcoming games to demo the game before it was even released, to find out, hey, I want to buy this to help generate sales.
Yeah, it's just something that doesn't really happen anymore.
When they stopped doing that, because it stopped before game magazines started dying off in favor of the internet. When that stopped happening is when we start seeing an increase and spike in piracy of video games.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, like the new Resident Evil game, that remake got a demo released the other day, and so many people were like ecstatic about it because it meant that like a lot of people were skeptical, especially because it's a remake, so a lot of people are still sour tasting their mouths about remakes. I mean, they can be good or bad. A lot of the time, they can be very bad. But just releasing a 30-minute play demo that was like pretty complete in the content. It was like a really decent just run through of how the game was going to work. It was a good narrative experience. It was just a good set to experience what the game was going to offer when it was released. And there's no problem with just brandishing it as a demo. Like, people aren't going to hate on it. And I guess you can make the argument that if a demo is bad, then it's going to lose them in sales. So maybe that's why companies worry. Because, like, we see so many games launch now that need day one patches and it's just broken on release. So maybe in that case, it's hard to expect companies, if they can't even get their games done by day one of release, to have it done by like a month before and have a demo complete already. But maybe if the industry just shifts to have less betas and early access. Oh, no. Oh, I hate saying this because I do think early access and betas and alphas have like a really good place in the industry, but in terms of like the way gamers are understanding it right now, the system is getting abused, and maybe the industry just needs to be a little more accepting to the idea of releasing betas. Not that alphas and early access shouldn't be a thing. I think the industry just needs to change its standards, or maybe gamers just need to change their standards of what they're expecting.
Right. And Lone Samurai here pointed out there was a time when we had shareware with like a couple of levels of Doom or the first realm of Quake and stuff on it. I remember that too. I used to love those things. They were amazing. And it really helped drive the industry forward. But I think where we're getting so many issues with that is it costs time and money to do that. And it's not so much development time and money, but they're still having to release something on a physical product or set up a digital product. They have to pay somebody to actually put in the man hours to do this. And we're getting more and more game companies being ran by the financial department than the actual game developer department or marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely an issue of like the current times in gaming right now. The idea of like how much pressure publishers have on the game developers is absolutely insane. I do wonder if Fallout 76 had a more transparent coverage of what was on offer by the time it launched, I don't think it would have had as much hate as it did. I do think Fallout 76 has the potential to be a really complete experience, or even a complete experience on launch. Like, I mean, Lone himself had a decent time with it on launch, so clearly people could have fun with it. But if maybe they were a little more transparent about how the game was going to launch, then there wouldn't have been so much uproar when people were disappointed.
I mean, again, this is another issue of people not understanding what they're getting. Players were expecting another single-player Fallout game, but with multiplayer added in as an afterthought.
Yeah.
When in reality, they said, this is a survival game. We're making a Fallout survival game. This is what you're getting. But I don't think they were clear enough with it.
Yeah. I mean, especially for a game series like Fallout, it's so set in stone and it's so iconic in the play style, especially for a Bethesda RPG, and their fans are quite diehard. And I don't think they were going to be pleased with anything that's out of the norm.
But with it being a Bethesda game, you have to understand there's going to be some weird bugs that make absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Such as Anduin flying backwards in Skyrim. This happens every Bethesda release. There's going to be funny bugs like that. And then there's going to be that narrative, but you're going to have to look for it sometimes. And furthermore, they tried to balance the PvP with PvE. What they should have done is set up PvP servers you could choose to join.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Because they ruined PvP with how they set it up, where you have to attack someone first and then they have to attack you back. The person instigating the PvP is either going to be at a disadvantage unless they get that person almost down to half health before they attack back.
Yep. Yeah,
As soon as they attack that person, they get a bounty placed on them.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of PvP. Like most of the games I play are for the PvP aspect, and like that instantly, the announcement of the way the PvP system works, like completely like threw me off it. Because I'll admit, when I heard the game, I was excited. I thought my initial expectation was like, oh, it's going to be a Rust style gameplay, but in the Fallout universe, which is something I was completely okay with having, but that wasn't what I received. Yeah, I think the addition of PvP and PvE servers, if people could select what they were having, would be far better.
But back to Sea of Thieves versus Atlas. So I saw you messing with your sails a while ago, and I have to ask: do you have to actually catch the wind and match your sails to the wind's proper direction to move?
In Sea of Thieves?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. It's a very like simple system. It's not difficult at all.
Yeah, in Atlas, we have to adjust our sails to match the direction of the wind.
Yeah, it's something that like a lot of some people who play Sea of Thieves like really overcomplicate it. The only complicated part of it is that when you get to the larger boats like the galleons and the brigantines that have multiple masts and sails, there are actually some like cool maneuvers you can do with the positioning of the sails to actually catch yourself like faster. But like on the sloop that I'm playing on right now, the just one-person ship, it's fairly simple. But I did watch a couple streams of Atlas, and it seemed like I think the Atlas system was a little more complex than Sea of Thieves one. It looked a little better.
Yeah, it almost feels like I'm doing a sailor sim when I'm manning the sails.
How much time is actually spent on water?
So there is a lot of time that can be spent on water. Some of the islands are so far apart. I remember it taking me 2 hours to sail from point A to point B while grabbing float some Atlas's version of drops in Ark.
Yeah.
And trying to avoid the undead pirates that were trying to kill me in the open seas.
Yeah, one of my favorite memories of Atlas so far is I was watching when the streamers went live, when they all got access a little early, and I was watching XQC. I don't know if you know him. He's old Overwatch pro, and he had access to the game with a couple other guys, and they were all like competing. Him and his I guess streamer friend group were competing to get off the island first, and they all rushed to make their first little raft and all get off the island with their armor and stuff, but they completely misjudged the time it would take them to actually reach another island, and they all like managed to get off pretty quickly, but completely starved and just like died of vitamin deficiency on the travel over because none of them had prepared enough to actually last the journey.
That's great!
It was pretty funny to watch. Because they spent like an hour preparing, just racing against each other to get off the island. And just the idea that they were so rushed on just getting off completely fucked them because they had no preparation once they were actually gone.
So yeah, that happened to me. I was ready to leave and everything. I had 50 pieces of meat ready. I had 50 of each of the vitamins except for fish. I could not find any fish to get fish from. And it's one of those, I was able to get like 10 pieces of fish, so I'm like, okay, I got this. I'll wait till I die, and I'll go hop on my raft and go. And so me and a buddy of mine, we're on that raft together, and we're going, and I still wind up dying of vitamin deficiency.
Yeah, it's a pretty big setback, but it's funny. I mean, like, again, this is definitely like those aspects are what are gonna keep like some of the more hardcore community, because a lot of people I've been gaming with recently have been complaining about the God, this sounds really pretentious, but like the fact that games are becoming like way too easy or too rewarding for doing too little, and games like Atlas, like I guess what you could regard as being like the more hardcore survival things, they're like the top of the food chain and like really punishing you for making mistakes and ill preparation.
They can. One of my favorite streamers I watch, Bucket of Sunshine, she does a lot of Ark, and she has a saying, mistakes were made.
Yeah.
When something happens that winds up killing her. And that's pretty much true of in Atlas too, and with anyone in Ark. Usually when you die, if you've been playing the game for a while, it's because you made a mistake in preparation or not being aware of your surroundings.
Yeah. The situation in Atlas with the launch and everything, but the streamer reception, again, it just amazes me. Like, as much I feel like the bad press hit Atlas so hard, and you could debate for days on like whether or not it's fair or not, but I think it's impressive how Atlas has still managed to pull through, like, despite the negative press. I mean, like, they really got hated on, and by a lot of streamers as well that got given early access, and yet, like, Forsen, one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, managed to keep up like 50k viewers playing Atlas like every day for about 2 weeks or so. It was pretty impressive. I honestly, when I saw the backlash in the first couple of days and then the later delays and the issues they were having on launch, I thought this is dead on arrival. I was except for like the hardcore Ark fans who I knew would go over to it. I really thought in the public face this was going to die, but I mean, I checked Steam Spy the other day, and I think Atlas had sold like upwards of 500,000 copies, at least what Steam Spy recorded.
And this is their earliest point in early access too, and they're expecting that to be in early access for 2 years. The game's going to just keep gaining traction. I mean, when you look at the fact these guys have been working tirelessly on this since its launch, they all...
Oh, wait, you still there? You cut out. Oh, I think we lost Darsch. Man down, man down. Lost him, boys. I wanted to go do the skull fort while we were just talking and doing some shenanigans, but I checked the map and there was like a PvP, like a labeled PvP ship. Like it was a galleon, and they weren't fucking around. They were going to attack me if I went. Basically what I'm doing is I've taken a contract to go hunt down some skeleton captains. So in Sea of Thieves right now, there's 3 main guilds that you'll work for, being the Gold Hoarders, the Order of Souls, and then the Merchant Alliance. And then there's like 4th guild, which once you reach like the highest rank, you'll be able to achieve. But right now it's just these basic 3, and you take a contract that is related to a particular guild. The Order of Souls are normally to hunt down skeleton captains, which once killing, they'll give you these skulls, which you take back and sell. Gold Hoarders will give you a map to go dig up some treasure, and Merchant Alliance will give you some goods to transport to another outpost. So right now I'm just just grinding some reputation for the Order of Souls. So just some easy PvE combat to kill these captains, get their skulls, sell them off, and get some easy reputation. But I'm decently high level with them, so this quest might take a while. So we've just done the first set, but I've still got these 2 more missions, and I might have some more after. So I've got 4 more captains to kill there, and then another captain to kill there. So I just gotta look for them now. Shipwreck Bay and Crooked Masts. Shipwreck... There's the ship. That's the galleon. They were there, I think, doing the outpost. So you can set your ship. This is a new feature in the newest update. You can set your ship's sail to be like a PvP marked ship, which means that you'll always see it on the map, which doesn't normally happen. So right now my ship is invisible. Nobody can see it on the map. But these guys in this galleon are marked for PvP. They aren't fucking about. They want to fight. And I saw them parked at the outpost, which is still the best the skeleton forts are still the best way to farm money in this game. And I wanted to go do it, but these guys were parked there, and I am not fucking about with a galleon that's marked for PvP. That is a 4-man piece of trouble there. So I guess they're at the outpost now selling their loot. I probably could have maybe laid ambush at them at the outpost, I don't know. I want to play it safe because I'm only one person. So yeah, I need to find Crooked Masts and Shipwreck Bay. Where the fuck are they?
Alright, I'm back.
Yo.
Sorry about that. My cat, the dragon Lucy, has decided to attack a Ethernet cord and yanked my modem and router off the dress.
Nice, that's alright. You still there? Is the damn cat struck again?
No, I'm still here.
So what were you saying before?
Back to what I was saying. So when you look into the fact that how hard and tirelessly these devs have been working on the game since launch, it's pretty impressive. I mean, a lot of them, most of them, didn't even take Christmas Eve off, worked up until midnight, and then went home, spent Christmas, and the very next day was right back to working. Many of them were putting in 16 to 24-hour shifts trying to get the launch day problems fixed.
Yeah, I was following their Discord and their I think it's the lead community manager or the lead manager on Twitter, and yeah, I think they definitely accepted that their initial responsiveness in terms of like communication with the fans wasn't too great, and I'll give credit where credit is due. Like they really stepped up and in terms of like rolling out the updates and being very responsive on like what they were doing, and that's definitely really good.
And I hate to say this, but most devs wouldn't have done that. They'd been like, fuck it, it's early access. We can spend just half a day working on this and be good. The people will have to just understand. No, they were like, no, we gotta make this right. Even though it's early access, we gotta make this right.
Yeah, I do wonder, because this was initial worry I had when this announcement was made at the Game Awards, when they premiered it, and the game was literally coming out like 13 days after they did the world premiere of it, and I was like, wow, this is insane. Like, this is coming out really quickly after we've just, like, it's just been announced. I'm pretty sure it was about 13 days or so. So I do wonder if maybe Grapeshot had like a bit of heat under their ass of like, I don't think they're being published by anyone. I'm pretty sure they're self-published. But was there anyone that you know of like really putting the heat on under them to get this out quickly? Because it seemed like they were being pressured to release it really quickly.
I'm not sure. I know Grapeshot is an offshoot of Studio Wildcard, and Studio Wildcard got bought out by a publisher. The people responsible for PixArt.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was just really weird. It didn't seem reasonable for me that the game could just be announced at a world release and 13 days later come out. It just seemed a little rushed. I mean, that it seems as though it wasn't ready, which is why they had the delays. But I'm wondering, like, what was the initial push for them to get it done so quickly?
Yeah, it was Snail Games that bought Studio Wildcard. So maybe there was some pressure from Snail Games. I'm not sure. I haven't really seen anything on it, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, with that sudden announcement and push to early access, is kind of like a do or die.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I remember watching the announcement with Lone, and when they announced it was like 13 days, because when they showed like the MMO aspects to it, I was like, wow, this looks awesome. This looks really cool. And 13 days from now, I was like, Christ, this is coming out really early. But I as said before, I respect the fact like they conceded on the fact, you know, it didn't launch as planned, but they seem to be doing the best of their ability to rectify the situation. I mean, there's very little devs can really do to win back. Like, gamers are fickle, and when it comes to winning back a reputation, it's incredibly difficult to do. So the test of time will show if they've managed to kind of make back the credibility that they lost from some people.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's going to take time to build up some trust with some of the more skeptical now.
Yeah.
I mean, I see people all the time saying, oh, it's just an Ark DLC turned into a game. Or, oh, it's just another Ark game. And it's like, no, it's really not. You have to actually play it to fully grasp it.
Yeah, I mean, in everything that they've advertised or branded it to be, like at least what they hope it will be by, I guess as you said, like 2 years down the line when it finally comes out of early access with their big 1.0, it definitely seems that from what they've pitched, it has enough content to separate it from Ark. It's just it is really like a different game in everything it's trying to be. I think a lot of people were really taken aback by just the similarities that it had on some basic levels and like launch right now. Like, but to play devil's advocate for that point, I don't really know what people were like a lot of people called out the fact that it was running in the Arc engine. It's like, well, are you really expecting them to make a brand new engine just for this game when they have one that could be used anyway? It's a bit of waste of resources to do that and a waste of time. And then things like a lot of people were saying like, well, you harvest and use resources exactly like you do in Ark. Well, it's such a basic concept of harvesting resources. Like, I don't think that's something that Ark has defined as being its own trait. Like, fuck, in Minecraft, you're harvesting resources. It's hardly like a key trope that Ark has conned as its own. I think
it's kind of.
Go ahead.
Endemic of, or not endemic, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, well, screw it. It's pretty much basic gameplay concepts of any survival game.
Yeah.
And a lot of games, you're going to be harvesting resources to do something.
Yep.
Even if you're just picking up an ammo pack to continue being able to shoot bullets into somebody's face in an FPS, you are picking up resources.
Yep. And if these developers have already, like, I mean, when the Ark Studio already has these key things already implemented within Ark itself, like, why would they waste the resources developing a brand new one just to keep up face of the idea of it being a brand new concept, rather than just using resources wisely? Like, they already have the resources and the systems put in place in the engine in a previous title. Why would they not save the time and resources by just porting it over? It makes sense. I don't think that, like, what people were using that to call out Atlas, I don't think that was a very smart shot that they were firing.
Yeah, but it is what it is. People are going to believe what they want to believe until they actually get proven wrong. And it's just one of those, some people, even when they're proven wrong, will never admit it. They're just going to be like, no, it's just this. And you know, you just gotta take it with a grain of salt. The game's gonna do fine. I have faith in it. I mean, it's still doing strong in Twitch, and that's pretty good indication that there's a fan base for the game. So it's gonna keep going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't doubt that it will keep its player base for now, and especially having the backing of like a lot of people, Ark fans staying true to it.
But it's like I said when I was first looking into the game and stuff, this is going to be the second coming of EVE Online, and it's already forming up to be that, and the game hasn't fully launched. Like that whole China versus America thing I was talking about earlier, that's the type of stuff you see in EVE Online.
Yep.
And with us being able to actually own land in this game, that's going to further promote that. There's going to be so much emergent gameplay just on player interactions that you can completely ignore the PvE content of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I just checked now on Twitch. Atlas is still the 25th game in streamed right now, so it's still in the top 50 on Twitch. It's doing pretty well.
Yeah, being in the top 50 games on Twitch is pretty amazing when there's millions of games out there vying for that coveted spot.
Yeah. I mean, there's very few games nowadays that demantle Fortnite as being the top streamed game, and Ark did that twice on launch. Yeah, also the benefit of it being in early access, I guess this is like the benefit of all the access games, is that at the end of the day, it might have had one bad launch now, but the really key thing that'll see whether or not it's a good or bad game is its actual, like, its second launch, the main 1.0 out of early access launch. That's the launch that matters, because really,
the official live launch.
Yeah,
that's the one they have to get right.
as much as they
'Cause
might have
we don't
shot
give
themselves
second
now.
chances.
Yeah. As much as they might have shot themselves in the foot now, like, they have another chance, like another launch there that could come out and it could be the best game ever at that point.
But speaking of second chances with games, Final Fantasy XIV: Realm Reborn, that game never should have seen the light of day a second time, and it did, and it's been doing phenomenal. It has dethroned WoW as far as total concurrent players logged in at one time, and actual paid subscribers. It's pulling more numbers than WoW ever has, which is crazy. And it was a failed game to begin with that they shut down and relaunched. And you don't see that ever going over well. That's a, like, miracle in the gaming department. And Atlas, if they don't get their launch right, they're not going to get that chance. Because that's just extremely rare that was even able to happen.
Yeah, I actually, something you mentioned Realm Reborn, because actually I was just looking into it because I was trying to look up the information about the new expansion coming out soon. I did play. Yeah, I did play Final Fantasy XIV a decent amount. I mean, I got 2 max level characters, one on NA and one on the EU servers, and I played through all the expansions to max level. And I firmly enjoyed it. And I was a big WoW player before. I was at least a Blizzard fanboy before. I mean, let's not talk about Blizzard's current state at the moment, but
oh God, don't make me cry.
Yeah.
I don't want to cry on stream. It's very disheartening what's happening to Blizzard right now.
World of Warcraft for me was so. When I was growing up, it was a really instrumental game. I loved it a lot. I had a lot of good time for World of Warcraft. I got a lot of love for it, but a lot of that love now is nostalgia, and I play. Every time I played the new expansions, I mean, I went back to play Legion, and I actually will say that Legion had a lot of late game content. As much hate as Legion got, the late game and the longevity of that expansion was actually really good. And as much as I enjoyed the Battle for Azeroth leveling experience, oh my god, that expansion died so quickly. Like, that had so many issues with, like, the late game content.
With you there. I loved Legion. I felt that Burning Crusade and Legion were the best expansions WoW ever had. And then, I'm an Illidan fanboy to begin with, so of course I'm going to love those 2 expansions.
Yeah.
But then, Battle for Azeroth, everything they were doing, I'm just like, this looks terrible. Why are you going to change these things this way? Have you completely lost base with your player base here?
Yeah, as Lone just said in chat, the new content's dropping. Yeah, I heard they got the new raid coming in. I don't know though. I feel really disenfranchised with just Blizzard as a whole, but also with, like, definitely their WoW content. I feel like the WoW devs just don't really know what they're doing anymore with the game.
This goes back to what I was saying earlier about the investment people being in charge of game development.
Yeah.
It's the Steve Jobs thing all over again, where he was talking about, say, Canon printers. Great product, and then the people that are getting promotions, getting put in charge, are the people in the financial department that's actually promoting all the sales and stuff, instead of the people actually making and designing and developing the product.
Yep. Yeah, it's really shitty. I mean, I played Burning Crusade a little bit. Oh god, I I had when I first started playing WoW, I was in my God, what year was I in? I think I was in year. It was before year 7, before I got to comprehensive secondary school. So in the UK, I was in my primary school, and I got into it because one of my best friends, his mum actually played World of Warcraft, and I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Like at that age, I was so young, I was like, wow, a parent who plays video games? This is insane. And then I used to play with him and his mum, and I joined his mum's guild, and we used to play. It was his mum and like 4 of us in primary school, not knowing anything that we were doing, running around like rugrats in the game. But it meant that we got into it really early, and I played a little bit of Burning Crusade. I wasn't like at the age I was when I was playing Burning Crusade. Like there's no way I could critically analyze it. Like I was just a rugrat running around trying to hunt things because I was playing a hunter, and just the idea of having my companions and stuff follow me, I was so bad at it. But Wrath of the Lich King is where I think that I really got into the game and playing it, and especially in the PvP. I was really into the PvP in Wrath of the Lich King, and the game, like Wrath of the Lich King, is where I have like most of my nostalgia memories, like going through and doing Ice Crown Citadel, and going through and doing the huge like time investment sinks of content, things like doing I just saw what Lone put in chat, things of like having this idea with this guild, right, where you'd spend like weeks and weeks preparing and farming resources and farming like particular items of gear so that you could do a 20 or 40 man raid, and it just like the time investment felt so important. I don't know, like at the end of the day, it didn't matter what you got out of the raid. I mean, odds are you're gonna have to run it 7 times anyway. But the idea that everyone was joining in this raid, everyone was pulling their weight, everyone was doing like an instrumental job, and it was very difficult. But the times where it came out and it actually went right, and the fluidity of the team would work really well.
Did you shoot yourself out of a cannon?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, that's something they need to add to Atlas. I totally want to roleplay a greenskin from Warhammer Fantasy getting launched out of a cannon because my pirate is crazy. Oh my god.
I'm surprised they don't have that in Atlas.
I know we can make catapults, but I haven't tried to launch myself out of a catapult yet.
Yeah, I just miss the days of WoW being like a big investment. Like I got to 120 in the Battle for Azeroth expansion in the first 8 hours of the expansion launching, and it was just not fun after that. Like I did my reputation grinds, and I played for like, I think on the day of release I played for 12 hours straight. I was really into it, and I really enjoyed the leveling experience. But after that, it just became a huge rep grind, and especially grinding Azerite power and stuff was just awful. It was terrible. I don't know why they decided to go with that Azerite mechanic.
I don't know, but I know WoW has become more instant gratification on a lot of stuff and more grindy on other things. Like they're trying to balance out what made it great to begin with that, and then it's like the community is gone. There's like no actual community.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Wow, it's usually you have your little clique of 5 to 10 players, and a guild is just a group of different cliques now instead of a full-fledged group of 40, 50, 60 people that are all on the same page with stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when I played back in the day, I remember I spent probably about 4 weeks trying to get the Hand of Sulphurus, the big fiery mace, the awesome Ragnaros weapon. And that took me so long to get it. Like I was grinding for that for so long with my guild. But when I finally got it, I literally spent like hours standing in the middle of Orgrimmar just to show off the fact that I had this weapon. Because when people would pass me and they would see me wielding it, it was like, oh wow, like this kid has actually put in time to get this. Like I didn't just run the content all day for a day. Like this took me literally weeks to get it. And I don't feel like there's that reward in WoW anymore, except for the pretentious like drops that are like 0.1%. Like if you're trying to grind like Ashes of Alar or Invincible Reigns or something. Yeah, I don't know. I would love for the content to get a little more difficult and just to be better investment. Like I did all the mythic runs in the new Battle for Azeroth dungeons, and the mythic dungeons were incredibly easy. Like the mythic dungeons are normally what people stay in grinding for like the long term, at least in the first couple of weeks, because it's the way to get the highest content, the highest level gear until the first raid comes out. And the mythic dungeons were so easy this time around. Like the mechanics were awful. The only dungeon that I really enjoyed was the Tal Dazar or whatever it was called, the Aztecian looking temple with the giant T-Rex god. That was the only
nice.
that was the only mythic dungeon I really enjoyed. Otherwise, all of them were really easy. I don't know. God, I get so annoyed when I think about Beef Ray, because I just think it was a chance to get really back into WoW and to get that feeling back again, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I couldn't get into Battle for Azeroth. Like, lore-wise, I was interested, but I just couldn't bring myself to play WoW again, because it always winds up into the same thing for me. I get bored after so long, and that community I used to have just isn't there anymore.
Yeah, exactly. The community is completely dead. I mean, I played Battle for Azeroth with two friends of mine, but like we were all in separate guilds. Like they're just my friends in real life, and I didn't do anything with any guild content. I just used Dungeon Finder. I hate Dungeon Finder, but I use it because I have to submit to it to actually play the game.
I love Dungeon Finder. I love that quality of life upgrade. I hate that it's been turned into a instant gratification.
Yeah, I guess I don't hate the concept of Dungeon Finder. I hate the fact that it just rewards the idea that players don't really need to make meaningful connections with other players now. Like the idea of before of being able to meet another player and do a dungeon successfully and think, oh, well, this player and I, we have like good synergy, we're good, like we worked well together. Like I'll add him to my friends list and maybe we'll kick it and do a couple of dungeons. Like that was a good way to meet people and to especially to form guilds and to have good communication with other players. And I think Dungeon Finder just adds an easy excuse not to do that. That's mostly why I dislike Dungeon Finder. Otherwise, I think it probably has a place in the game. It's just, I think it incentivizes antisocial behavior.
It does, because it was just instant gratification, and it feels to me like Dungeon Fighter dungeons were made to be easier than actually having to do it old school, if that makes sense. Because I remember back in like BC and Lich King where you had to CC mobs and have actual strategy just pulling trash mobs, and now it's like, oh, just go in there, AoE everything down, and then AoE the boss and you're good.
Yeah. What's that? Lone just said in chat, Dungeon Finder is for normal hard, Mythic and Mythic Plus, you need a group. I disagree. I mean, like factually, yes, you do need a group, but WoW has the system for Group Finder now, which essentially is just Dungeon Finder, except it has one more step where people have to apply. But otherwise, it works exactly the same as Dungeon Finder. Like, people just get to automatically look for a group that's already searching, and then just queue into it with them. Like, it's not... There's no meaningfulness in who you're partying with there. I mean, I played pretty much solo, except for my leveling experience where I played with two friends, and I cleared every mythic dungeon on day one that I could. And I didn't do it. I didn't even do the mythics with my friends because we had such a level gap between us, and especially on power level, and the fact that all of us play DPS now, so we couldn't even queue together. Because if you want to be a DPS, you have to spend 10 years looking for a party that'll take you, because everyone plays DPS or rogue. I hate rogues so much. What class did you play? What race and class did you play, Darsh, actually?
I was a Night Elf Mohawk. I mean, I was a Night Elf Warrior and a Night Elf Hunter.
Oh, dude.
A Night Elf Rogue.
I got a lot of love Hunter because it was one of the first classes I played, but Warrior is so good. Warrior is so powerful.
Yeah, I was a Prot Warrior and a Fury Warrior back when those weren't cool.
Yeah, Warrior is really powerful as well at the moment. Have you not seen my character list? I saw yours, Lone. I'm pretty sure you're a. Wait, Lone, didn't you play tank as well? I don't think you played DPS, right? Unless you played like Arms Warrior or something.
Then let's see here. My hunter was always Beastmaster. I've never really done marksmanship or survival with it. Other than Cataclysm, I had a hybrid survival Beastmaster, so I could solo the spiders on Bethel.
Yeah, I played survival and Beastmaster a little bit. I preferred Beastmaster over survival. And DPS for no healing or tanking. Oh, wait, what class did you play, Lone? What was your main? I think I saw. I remember seeing your character. Lode, you played a Draenei, didn't you, or something like that? I remember seeing a picture, something related to your profile with a Draenei.
He was a sham wow. Just calling it now. I don't know why he played, but he was a sham wow. Not gonna lie, I played Shaman a little bit. I played it just for the lightning, so I could pretend I was in for Palpatine.
I played Shaman for about 4 years, maybe 5 years. It's my favorite class.
Shaman is one of the best classes in the game. I will give it that. It had so much versatility.
It was until Battle for Azeroth. Battle for Azeroth fucking killed Shaman. That's another reason I hate Battle for Azeroth. It was so fucking awful playing a Shaman. They were so bad at the beginning of the launch.
It fucked up Beastmaster hunters so hardcore, taking away Hottie from.
And they had to they acknowledged that there was a huge problems with Shaman in the launch of Beefray, and they said before that they were going to release a patch for it, and all the Shamans rejoiced because we thought, yes, it's going to come out with Beefray. And then when Battle for Azeroth launched, no changes came out, and they said, actually, we're going to wait for the changes for 8.1, and then your Shaman rework is going to come. I had to play dog shit class the whole time just so people would take me on, because I actually prefer playing Elemental Shaman over Enhancement, and I don't really play Healer, so I don't play Restoration. But the game was so anti-Elemental Shaman at the time that I had to swap over to Enhancement just to be valuable in Mythics, so that when people took me on, I could actually play and not be terrible. It was really irritating. I really didn't like it. Enhancement. There you go. Lo, we played the same class with Beefray. I swapped over from Elemental to Enhancement. Enhancement was fun, but I still think Elemental is more fun.
Look at Lone with his cute little Havoc Demon Hunter. That's so cute. I do the same DPS with a. Wife just told me not to be a jerk. I'm only playing. Havoc and the Prot version of Demon Hunter, amazing. I was actually surprised when they launched Demon Hunter that I was only going to have 2 spec.
Yeah, but they work so well. Havoc is so powerful.
Oh yeah, it is. I love both specs of Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter became my main class. I had mained Warrior and Hunter all along until Demon Hunter came. Yeah, I had actually quit WoW during Warlords, and I swore I wasn't coming back unless they released Demon Hunters, and sure enough, they released Demon Hunter, and I'm like, okay, I'm back, and I loved every minute of playing Demon Hunter.
I was gonna say, who didn't quit in Warlords of Draenor? That was fucking awful. Oh hell, that expansion was terrible. Actually, my first time I really felt pissed off with the game was Cataclysm. I had a really bad time playing Cataclysm. I played to max level and I played for a good couple months, but then I backed out. And then I played pretty much religiously for like all the expansions up to through Burning Crusade, and then Wrath of the Lich King. And then when Cataclysm came out, I felt really pissed off after a couple of months, so I quit playing the game. And then I came back for every expansion that launched. But I definitely think like since Wrath of the Lich King, Legion was probably the most fun I've had. Like Legion was really good. Yeah, I saw.
Has it really been 12 years since BC came out?
Yeah, the official WoW Twitter were asking people for like their best memories of it. Everyone was getting really nostalgic about it.
Wow. I feel really fucking old now.
I hate thinking about how I was acting in BC because, oh god, I was such a little kid when I was playing. When I was playing with my friend's mum's guild, we literally had to be handheld through all the content, and I cringe thinking about how little I fucking knew about the game.
How old were you?
This was when I was in primary school. Like this was a long ass fucking time ago. I must have been like 9 years old, maybe 8 years old, 9 years old.
I was getting drunk as a skunk during BC. I was 22. I like that glowing skull. Something else we need in Atlas. And the shark on the front of the ship. Yep. Need that too. So, Atlas sharks are no joke, by the way. When you're playing, if you get in the water, they will mess you up.
Every creature I encountered in Atlas killed me, devoured me.
I know Atlas has this huge overarching quest you can do, which has you finding power stones put into a compass, and it unlocks a huge, giant, massive boss fight.
Yeah, a streamer that I watch occasionally, I was watching him yesterday, and he has 8 out of the 9 stones. I'm wondering if he's going to get the 9th today.
Nice. I'll have to check that out.
Has anyone encountered it yet? Has anyone done it?
I don't think so. I've only seen where it was shown in trailers. I don't think anyone's actually done it yet.
Yeah, the big like Ragnaros fiery looking demon thing in the trailer.
Yeah, that was just a regular fire elemental. No, this thing's like a giant kraken.
Oh. Speaking of Kraken, I really hope I do not get ambushed.
Looking mighty spooky here.
I can hear the Kraken in the area as well. Yeah, when I first joined the server, there was a PvP marked ship roaming around, so I got to look out for that. They're looking for trouble. Although I think we can all agree, Raid Finder is a great way to get into raiding. Yeah, it is.
It really was. I had a group, we would actually go into Raid Finder to learn the raids and try and do the full mechanics in Raid Finder to actually learn it before we do it for...
Yeah, I really like the separation as well, that Raid Finder is locked for, I think it's the first week. So like the guilds can do their speed runs like the formed guilds can do their speedruns for a week, and then after Raid Finder is open, which I do like. I think that's a good system. I really like the leadership system, which is in Dungeon Finder and in the Mythics as well. That somebody can appoint themselves, like that they know all the mechanics, like they feel confident knowing what's going on. That's a really good mechanic for new people to come in, because it means they're not intimidated.
It really is.
Yeah, you can have like a lecturer tell you how to do all the mechanics, especially for some of the more difficult ones. Like there were some mechanics in the Altazar final boss of BFA, the spider like queen one that sucked out your ghost spirits. So many people messed up on that boss fight, but as long as you had somebody who could just instruct everybody on how to play it, like you had it cleared easy.
Alright, I'll be right back. I gotta go take care of something real quick.
Yeah, no problem. Elite Dangerous. Two of my friends have been playing Elite Dangerous a heck of a lot recently. Apparently it's good. I never picked it up, but Hey, Alone. Hey, Alone. You know what I'm really looking forward to? Star Citizen. Got him. Sense the furious typing incoming. That was a joke, by the way, Lone. I do not condone Star Citizen at all. Please don't fire me. Please, 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 please. Oof, this is a yikes. This storm is really messing us up. What? You guys are just all waiting here? Please do not. All the skeletons are just waiting there like they're hosting a party for me. One of them of which carrying an explosive barrel. I'm gonna swap back to my pistol so I can actually set that off. Yeah, the explosive barrel skeletons are like 200 IQ from rare. Like, the blunderbuss was so overpowered in all instances of PvE and PvP. So they added the bomb skeleton so that the blunderbuss pretty much can't set off the bombs because it's so inaccurate. So you have pistols now, or sniper rifles, that are actually worth using because they're accurate enough. It completely changed the meta because now you can't engage in PvE and just have blunderbusses, otherwise you get messed up by the barrel bombs, which is pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
These dark skeletons are really irritating. I'm probably gonna die here. With these,
so, you know how we were talking about how Dungeon Finder kinda took away the community aspect, and wow. Well, I find it interesting that it hasn't done that in Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that Final Fantasy do different, which are really good, like the endorsement scheme as well, which I think is really good in Final Fantasy. That you can, after doing a Dungeon Finder, you can say like if somebody played really well or something, you can recommend them, and then there are like set rewards for recommending.
Really awesome.
Yeah, incentivizes good behavior, and like that a system of like being nice to people and teaching them dungeons is really good to farm commendations.
Or just queue up as a tank or a healer.
Yeah.
Good at tanking and healing.
Dude, I'm actually really looking forward to the new expansion coming out. I'm looking forward to jumping back in. I haven't played in probably a year now, actually. I played in my first year of uni when I came back.
Oh, there is so much content.
Yeah, they just dropped a new update as well, didn't they, recently? Like a new big content update.
Yes, we just got Blue Mage added to the game as a limited job. So basically, you think of it like Eureka or the Deep Dungeons, where it's its own content.
Yeah.
But it levels 1 to 50, and then you have to go and learn all your moves from enemies. They have to cast it, and then you learn it by killing them after they cast it.
Oh,
and
nice.
You learn it. And some of the stuff comes from primal fights, like Shiva.
Ah.
One of them we had to go into last night. I took a friend into the Binding Coil Bahamut turn 1. That very first mob in there, we had to fight him for him to learn a skill for his blue mage off of it.
Oh, so they
has its
really
own
went
content.
back and like added these abilities to like the old
Kinda like
content.
the brawler skill.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, they do a great job at keeping old content relevant.
I haven't run Binding Coil in a long time. I hated doing that, to be honest. Binding Coil. A lot of the raids and stuff, the design of the dungeons and the set content in Final Fantasy is really good. I actually probably prefer that design to any of the new stuff in WoW. Like some of the boss fights are really, really fun. And the music, holy hell, the music in it is far better.
Oh yeah, the music is great. It's Nobuo Uematsu! Best composer of all time. And if they could get John Williams to help with the soundtrack, that would just be epic too.
Oh, I'm gonna die here, I need a banana. Somebody
But
give
yeah,
me a
Shadow
banana.
Bringers is supposed to come out this summer. I am super hyped for it. And then Elder Scrolls Online has a new DLC chapter coming out this year.
Yeah,
It's
they're elsewhere.
Necromancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, elsewhere. They're doing their DLC for this year a little bit differently. All the DLC that comes out this year ties into elsewhere.
Oh, nice. Do you play much ESO?
From time to time, I play a ton of it. And then I'll go away for a bit, and then I'll come back and play a ton.
Yeah.
If I had my gaming mouse, I'd probably be playing the heck out of it right now, but I just have a regular mouse, so it's kind of hard for me to hit all of the buttons I need to with my left hand on the keyboard, since I'm used to just having those do nothing but WAS and D.
Yep. Yeah, I played not a huge amount of ESO. It's probably one of the larger MMOs that I haven't checked out extensively. I probably got maybe 50 hours in it or so. I didn't play a huge amount. But I liked it. It was decent. I've actually found there was a lot of like RP fun to be had in it because it's far more I don't know, receptive to that kind of gameplay. With the whole I don't know. It just feels like it's far more character driven with the RPG. I ended up meeting just some really high-leveled dude when I first started playing, and I went in to play with all my friends, but they'd played for a couple of weeks before I did, so I was really behind, which kind of like set me already on like a part where I kind of felt uninterested because all my friends were like way higher. And this guy I met who was like this mentor, this just random player that I discovered, taught me everything and like ran through so much content with me and like taught me so many things about the game to the point where like I started overtaking them. Like they were trying to find somebody to turn them into a vampire, and my mentor was actually a vampire as well, so he just gave me the bite for free and I suddenly became a vampire. Then it was really fun. Just like I had this point where I was feeling really I don't know, behind, and then just this one player who was really like experienced in the game taught me like the whole ropes. It was like a Rocky Balboa training montage. I suddenly like discovered everything.
Nice. Yeah, I had something similar happen to me in ESO. A guy, he's a hardcore PvPer, hooked me up with some gear and some gold and some enchants for what I was playing, and then he taught me the ropes of PvP and Cyrodiil. Oh, so awesome.
I think the community is nicer than most.
Yeah, I do find the ESO community tends to be a pretty tight-knit group and a little less toxic than most MMO communities. Find that with Final Fantasy as well. I guess because they're more story-driven than others, and most people are playing them for that story.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, WoW is really toxic now.
Yeah, I've heard. I know it was pretty bad when I was playing during Legion, and I've been hearing it's just gotten so much worse with the toxicity in WoW.
I think another thing is just this back to my my distrust of Dungeon Finder, but it's this idea of like if you go into an instance with somebody and like maybe they do a misplay, maybe they get everyone wiped, and maybe they just fuck up, right? But they make a mistake. There's no reason why anyone should get like extremely pissed off. But because nobody really gives a shit, and because it's so easy to just queue into a new instance, people are so easy to just rage in chat, blame the like noob or the pug or whatever, and then jump out of the instance, bailing, making everyone probably also fail the instance now because they haven't got a full man. Or they'll just type toxicity into chat because there's no repercussions because they don't actually know these people. They've just queued into it, so they don't care what they think about them. That's another downside, is that the kind of like the social perception doesn't matter because they don't give a shit.
Well, I'm saying they mostly fixed that now.
Wait, what, the toxicity? I mean, back when I was playing Battle for Azeroth in its launch, that was still a problem. I mean, they might have fixed that now since Battle for Azeroth has been running.
Oh yeah, the levers debuff, that never stopped me from abandoning the party.
I disagree. I don't think the levers debuff does enough to stop it. It's something that is like ingrained into like kind of like how the community thinks it can act.
Like, I never cared about the levers debuff, but it takes a lot to drive me to the point to leave the party. It's usually when I'm ready to like scream at somebody. It's like, nope, I need to leave. This group is too toxic and too bad for me.
Yeah, the levers debuff is definitely like a deterrent, but I don't think it's a hugely successful one. The other thing is as well, now that so many people have all their tunes and stuff grinded out, that everybody can just jump on another account if they get levers debuff. Or did they change levers debuff now that it's account wide? I remember them talking about them wanting to do that. So if one character had a levers debuff, they were going to put it on all characters. I don't know if they ever implemented that, but I definitely know they were talking about the possibility of it. Account wide 45 minutes, yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, had it happen in all my dungeon streams from all the expansions. It's just shitty community elements, the minority. Yeah. Fuck, I don't think I ever streamed WoW when I played it. No, I streamed the launch of BFA. That's how I know I played for 12 hours, but then I didn't stream any more of it. Just because I dropped off the content really quickly after doing the mythics. The rep grind in BFA was just fucking awful. I don't know why I stuck it out for so long. Oh, actually, no, I do know, because I wanted to get the fucking allied races that they stuck behind the wall, and then said, actually, no, you can't get it till Tides of Vengeance anyway.
I'm just waiting for him to make that fox raccoon looking race a playable race.
Yeah.
Those things look so awesome.
I'm just waiting for Murlocs. Love to play Murlocs. Speaking of Blizzard and launches and Blizzard shit, the World of Warcraft, not World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3 Reforged is coming out this year as well.
Oh, nice. I might have to get that. I loved Warcraft 3.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I like that they've included both Reign of Chaos and Frozen Throne into it as well, which is really cool. So it's not just Reign of Chaos, and they've also still enabled all the like the moddable content, so that you can create like a bunch of game modes and stuff in it, like the old Dota was created and stuff, which is really cool. I think that'll give the game a lot of life.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to that. And as much as I annoyed about Blizzard recently, I did pre-order it because I thought it would be. Just looking forward to it. I have all the Legion-based allied races unlocked. Yeah, all the Legion ones, but they were like significantly easier to unlock than the Battle for Azeroth one. Holy shit, Battle for Azeroth, the allied races were absolute. They were just absurd. Because they made everyone grind the rep when it initially launched, but then you couldn't get the God, which ones were on? I know Zandalari Trolls were still locked until Tides of Vengeance, like the newest patch, because then that was when you had to grind the rep, and then you had to do a character mission for them, and the character mission didn't come until Tides of Vengeance, because I got all the allied races except for the ones that were locked behind Tides of Vengeance. The only ones I really cared about were the Magdar Orcs, because I wanted to be unfelled. But yeah, that grind was so irritating. The whole reputation grind in Battle for Azeroth was just pretentious.
So I noticed your combat there is mostly hack and slashes. Do you have any like special attacks other than that charge attack?
No, the combat is so basic in this game. The
Yeah.
You have your sword, and you have the option available to you to swap out. So you can hold 2 weapons at a time. You have a sword, pistol, blunderbuss, or sniper rifle. Most people use a sword and a blunderbuss. But more recently, since the bomb skeletons, you kind of can't use a blunderbuss all the time. You need to swap out to something like a pistol. But the sword is just the swipe and then the charge attack. But also the reason to have the sword is because you can abuse the game. So if I thought a Megalodon just attacked me then. If you charge up, like when you're standing on the edge of something and you dash off, you actually carry your momentum and you can sprint off into the water. So you go really quickly. So a lot of people use that because it saves the slow ass swimming times. So most people will always keep a sword equipped, and then they'll just keep a blunderbuss or something. Combat in this game is probably a big problem because the PvP tends to just be who can get the first hit in. If you get hit by a sword in PvP, you get like a stun lock, so you can't really fight it out until the 3 slashes have passed, which makes PvP a little boring. And then blunderbuss is normally a 1-hit kill, if not a 2-hit.
Alright. Yeah, I was asking because in Atlas, combat is interesting. You can actually do different attacks depending on what buttons you press. Like, unarmed, instead of just doing a straight punch, you scroll the mouse wheel forward, you'll do a jab. You scroll it backward, I think you do an uppercut or a downwards overhead punch. And then left click is your left hand, right click is your right hand. And then you hold control and you can block, counter, and parry.
Nice.
Depending on what button you press. If you hold both left and right mouse down, you'll put both your hands up to block directly ahead. If you hold control and just left click, you block from the left, and right click from the right. It's pretty interesting. Pretty in-depth. And then, say you want to run around with pistols. Well, it takes forever to reload your pistol, your flintlocks, or your blunderbusses and stuff. So what they do is pistols, you can carry 6 of them equipped on your character at one time.
Wow.
You just press Alt and scroll to pick up the next one to shoot. And when you're all out of loaded pistols, then you can go through and reload each one individually. And you can dual wield them.
Nice. Yeah, I think the combat depth is definitely a pro. I do wish Sea of Thieves had a little more complex, but I don't think it would meet their target demographic.
And every equipable item that you hold in your hands is displayed on your character when you have it on your hotbar. You're
That is
actually
cool.
limited by what you can display.
I'm gonna encounter a little bit of a problem here. I need to go sell. I've got like a copious amount of loot that I need to go sell right now, and the nearest outposts is right next to a fort, which is being done by that PvP marked galleon I was on about earlier. And if they see me go to the fort, the outpost, they might just come and plunder me. So I'm gonna have to go covert ops here. I'm gonna turn off all the lights on my ship. I really hope I did not grind all this stuff for nothing and get ambushed now. Especially not by a galleon that's marked by PvP. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's an island.
I'm suddenly reminded of Gilligan's Island.
There's that skull fort. I'm gonna get into the crow's nest and see if I can see that ship. Yeah, there it is. The skull creeps you out. Yeah, the skull is showing there's a skull fort active there. There's they added a new one. I saw one earlier. I don't think it's still up. But if there's a they added skeleton ships, ships that roam around that are pirated by skeleton crews now. And if there's a alliance formed of a couple of them, you can go take them out. But it's pretty much a death wish to do solo. You have to be in an alliance of players to do it.
Yeah, the skeleton pirate ships in Atlas is pretty much a death wish right now.
Are they worth doing? Do they drop like a significant enough loot?
Oh yeah, you can get a ton of gold off of them. Daggertooth Outpost. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing a lot of similarities between Atlas and Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I really was oh shit. That skull just disappeared, which means they just finished up the skull fort. Which means all that loot is available to them, and the fort that I am at the moment, the outpost, is the closest place to go sell it, so they are going to ship on right over here. This is not good for me. Yeah, I was very disappointed. I mentioned earlier when I started the stream, I was disappointed in Sea of Thieves when it launched because the content was like literally identical to what we played in like the beta and alpha test. Like nothing had changed. But like all the updates they've released recently have added like a lot of variants of content to do now. So I think the game is worth checking out now. It's had a huge revival on Twitch as well.
So would it be better to rush to sell the stuff now or wait for those guys to leave?
So I'm gonna load up this little rowboat that I acquired earlier, and I'm just going to drop everything on here to save me having to swim back and forth to the ship, because that'll just slow me down. So I'm going to just beach the rowboat with the loot parked on land because I can sprint back and forth quicker than I can swim back and forth. And then probably what I'm going to do, I've got no bananas left. There's nothing, although I did have the cannonballs, the special cannonballs that are kind of worth keeping. To give them less of an incentive to rush over here, I'm going to scuttle my ship so it just purposely sinks it. So they don't even see me, so they don't even think of players here. And scuttle. There you go. Now I just gotta sell everything before they get here. Bye, ship. I don't think my ship is able to sink properly because I'm so close to the ground.
Now that's something we can do in Atlas. Is a ship gets sunk, we can actually dive under and salvage it.
What is the it is permanent, right? When a ship sinks, that's a ship gone.
Yeah, it's just like Eve. Your ship gets destroyed, it's gone forever. You gotta go farm new resources and make a new one.
Yeah, Lone, every time you join an instance of Sea of Thieves, basically the only thing that transfers over is your character's cosmetics and like your money and stuff and your reputation. Like your character crosses over, but everything in terms of like that you physically own is just like instance based. If I just kill myself now and respawn, I'll spawn with a new ship. There's no harm in losing your ship really. It's just a minor setback. The only harm is if you've got stuff loaded up on the ship, which luckily I'm selling now. Although they did add these new cannonballs recently with the update, so there are these special like cursed cannonballs, what they're called, and each one has a different effect. So if you hit a ship with it or a player, it lets off like an AOE effect. So jig balls make them dance. Grog balls make them puke and have a drunk effect. Limp balls make them limp with broken bones. Peace balls disable their cannons. Rig balls raise their sails so they can't move. Helm balls means they can't control the helm. Like all these new curse balls add like a bit of variance to PvP, but it actually adds like a bit more severity to dying now, because if you lose a ship with those special balls, they actually they're quite useful because they can turn the tides of PvP. So losing those can be quite dire sometimes. But it's not a huge loss right now, which is why I just emptied them into my inventory so I could just get rid of the ship. But yeah, all the ship stuff is fairly infinite. Although, as I mentioned earlier, in the new arena mode, I think that's going to be a one ship life basis, because that's just like an arcadey game mode that they're adding. But it'll be interesting to see, because the PvP in this game is probably, aside from the Curse Cannonballs, which are a really new addition, the PvP can really just come down to manpower, unless like a team is really being really dumb with how they interact with the others. A well-organized team can sometimes take on a bigger team, but it tends to just come down to manpower because there's not too much skill in the combat. So I'm hoping with the arena mode, because it's dedicated to PvP, that some more thought goes into how to innovate the PvP in this game. Maybe the addition of a new weapon or something. But the Cursed Cannonballs were a good start.
I can see there being a lot of strategy around the cannonballs.
Yeah, the main thing is that so depending on the size of the ship, it has different layers. So like a galleon will have 3 layers, and when you're aiming at the ship, you need to aim at the lowest point because the ship will only ever take on water if that position of the ship that's been hit is submerged. So a lot of people, like newer players, will just wail on a ship at like the top deck with cannonballs, but it doesn't do anything. You actually need to aim below the water line to really impact them, so you actually get water flooding into their ship. That's kind of like the main thing that newer players forget. Because I guess it does try and run off some logic. But the cursed cannonballs have added like an actual larger degree. Like there's a cursed cannonball which actually like puts weight onto the ship and actually like submerges it slightly, and that can really mess up a team. But again, this all comes into like multiplayer stuff. If you're playing solo, you pretty much just try and be a ninja and just skirt around people without them noticing. Alright, that's everything sold off. Where's the, is that galleon coming over here or not? The expansions, so they're doing like, there's the galleon. So they're doing like big content drops. Originally they were really misguided on it. So when they dropped their biggest one post-launch was called the Hungering Deep, and that added the new Megalodon. And a quest line centered around summoning the Megalodon, and a couple new cosmetics, which was really it was really cool when it dropped, because the game was like fairly like dry of content, so having a big content drop like that was really cool. But the biggest problem was that it was a 2-week event, and then they when the event passed, they actually removed half the content they brought in, and it just ended up going back to the same dry game. So I think they quickly realized that when they drop these events, they need to craft these expansion events to be good, like limited time events. But then once the event has finished, they need to find some way to implement the content within the event into the main game. So the way they did that is after the Hungering Deep event, after all the backlash of the content being removed, they took the Megalodon, took away the idea that you have to summon it and fight it, added it like the Kraken so that it roams around the world, and they actually added like 5 different variants of the Megalodon, so there's like 5 different colors of it now that wander around. And yeah, it just, like the Kraken, it can just appear and attack your ship at any point, so it's a wandering mob in the world now, rather than it before being removed from the game once the event disbanded, which is a far better decision, because there's no reason to work on content like this just to remove it. And that was good. So the new expansions, they had the Hungering Deep, and then they had the Forsaken Shores, which was the new volcano region, which brought in a lot more cosmetics, a lot more content, added a new region with new islands. And since then, I think they're really learning. Like every drop they do of content is pretty substantial. They're bringing in new cosmetics all the time, but not only that, but they're bringing in new things to do, because the big kind of draw of Sea of Thieves was this kind of sandbox adventure, right? You get like your quest to go do something, but what happens to you along the way of doing that quest is really where the fun comes in. Like, oh, you have to go to an island to dig up some treasure, but the Kraken attacks you and steals your treasure, or another team attacks you and you have to hide your treasure, something like that. And the game is a good sandbox to deliver those experiences, but for the most part at its launch, it didn't have enough variables in the game to kind of pop out at you to craft these cool adventures. But now in the game, like, they've added the skeleton crewed ships, they're brand new. The new cannonballs, they're brand new. They've updated the Kraken so that it's got a better AI, it's far bigger, it's got actual attack patterns. The new Megalodons in the game, the new types of enemies. There's a lot more stuff that now can change your adventure and actually make it feel unique and just impressive. Like, it actually feels like a well-developed sandbox adventure game now. So, I think the new content drops have been really successful. The developers have really learned from their mistakes. I think they really fucked up at the launch and for the first month or so, but they've learned, and I think they're doing really well now. I just want to see if this galleon actually comes to this outpost, because I might be able to snipe at least one piece of loot. Doesn't seem like coming here though.
Gonna steal from them while they're distracted.
Well, I'm hoping this was the closest outpost to them, which is why I was worried they were going to come to me. But it seems like they're still loading up all the loot which they gained. So I want them to come over and sell, and I want to quickly nab something that they got at the outpost and sell it quickly. They shouldn't expect it, because I don't even have a ship parked here, so...
You're a man after my own heart, man, because that's the type of stuff I do.
Well, it's a pirate game, so, yeah, I gotta do a little bit of piracy. But I don't know why they're stalling for so long. They're just sitting over there. Unless they're really, like, undermanned.
So did you ever hear back from Twitch RP on your application?
No, I never did. I mean, I didn't expect that they had, like as you said, like, before thousands of applications, so maybe they're just still clearing through it.
Another Discord said they had poured through all the applications to be keeping an eye on your inbox.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think I'll try and jump into Atlas every now and again off stream to see, because if it gets to a point where I can stream it, I'd like to give it another look, like a fairer trial, like post-launch when it's not in a state where it's just like crashing and stuff. Because like as annoying as that is, it's not the gameplay. I want to assess like how it actually plays. Like it's not fair to just critique it on the sake that I've had like bad experiences with launching it and stuff. Oh, come on, Galleon, come over here. I think it's just camping there.
Looks like they're getting closer.
Yeah, I hope so. From this distance, it's really hard to tell. Oh, what the hell? Oh my god, the Kraken's got them. That's why they're staying still.
Yeah, I see its tentacle. Oh, man.
Oh, dude, they are so tilted. They have a fort full of treasure on that ship. If they lose that to the Kraken, holy shit, they are going to be tilted. That's why it's been stuck there this whole time.
Sucks so bad to be them right now. That Kraken is doing a number on them.
They might succeed, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know how many people they have. It's a galleon, so it could have 4 people on it. If all 4 people are there fighting it off, they could do it. But the Kraken is really difficult to fight now, since they updated it. It's more so you just have to outlive it. Their ship is getting thrown about. Oh no. Oh, okay. It's really rocking about.
Oh, it almost capsized.
God, I wish I could see better. I don't know if they're winning or not. They're definitely getting thrashed around. Wait, are they free? I think they might be free. Oh, well, now it looks like they're still getting tossed around.
Yeah, they just got flipped around there.
I do have my rowboat still parked here. I'm wondering if I could just row out to them.
Still it while they're busy dealing with the Kraken.
Yeah, just loot a couple things. I don't know if my rowboat will make it out there that far. God, I want to get higher up. These rocks are so annoying. Yeah, they're still fighting the Kraken. You can see its tentacles. Come on, dudes. I'm kind of rooting for them now. I feel bad for them for looting that whole fort. Oh, its tentacle's gone. Come on, get free.
They're still rocking. Wow, this thing's really taking them for a ride, ain't it?
I don't know how they've still like either not drowned or not defeated it. It's still there. I can see its tentacles. They've been fighting this for so long now. Come on, dudes.
I would so ride up and offer help and really loot their hold.
I kind of wish I didn't scuttle my ship now. I could have got over there a lot quicker. I have my rowboat here. And they're in...
So what's that flare thing there?
So when you lose your ship or you go too far from your ship, a mermaid will spawn and like give off that flare effect. And if you go over to it, the mermaid will teleport you back to your ship.
Oh, okay. Whereas in Atlas, mermaids are there to, well, eat your face.
Yeah. Right, I need to go south by southwest. Don't know if I'll even be able to see him now, the waves are so big. Unless they actually got sunk. Holy shit. They might... Wait, what? Oh, dude! I think they got sunk. Their ship just spawned back at the port that I just left. There's no way they just flanked past me. They must have been sunk. I'm gonna see if I can get back to the port and talk to them. Yeah, this is their ship because it's the one marked with PvP. God, that... Yeah, the Kraken must have sunk them. Oh wait, they're leaving. They must be going back to their loot. Oh, let me try and see if I can call out to them. Yo, dudes! Dudes, stop your boat! Come pick me up! I'll come help you! Oh, they're going full speed ahead.
Pretty fast boat.
Yeah, there's no way my boat, my little rowboat can last against these waves I'm getting thrashed about. But I'm sure they're probably pissed off from losing so much loot from the forts that they're rushing back. Alright, I'll leave my rowboat here with all my treasure. Somebody else can find it. My resources, my dead body. Alright, I think the stream's gonna end here because we're already 20 minutes over. I think Lone is AFK at the moment, but to the boys watching, I appreciate you guys watching, chilling. Thanks to Darsch for actually coming to talk about Atlas, somebody who's actually clued in about Atlas and played a decent amount of it.
Anytime, man.
And yep, I don't actually have the end slate to put up, but go check out the Discord, go check out the website, Sanitarium.FM, Sanitarium.FM for the Discord. The Discord link is also in the Twitch chat. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I'll speak to Lone when he gets back. Cheers, boys.